All right, great day today. Graphing square root and cube root functions. Anytime you see the word graph in the directions, that's a good day. It means not a whole lot of work. Let's check it out here. Two kinds of graphs today, square root and cube roots. The first one is square root. Square root graph looks like half of us probably going sideways, only the top half. It's called the parent function, just the y equals square root of x. There's nothing with it, just plain old square root of x. It looks just like that. It starts at 0, 0, goes up, goes to 1, 1. Mainly because there's a 1 in the front, and just keeps on going up like that, like half of a sideways parabola. Your domain will be x is positive and y is positive. They're both greater than 0 or equal to 0. Cube root. This is a weird way to say this, but really a cube root function. Remember, this is the parent function, just a regular cube root of x. It's really two halves of sideways parabolas, but one goes this direction, look at that. One goes that way, that's half of a parabola. One goes that way, that's half of a sideways parabola. They both go through 0, 0. They go over 1, up 1, over 1, down 1 to get your second point. All you got to do now, the domain and range of this one's all reals because it's going left and right forever, and it's going up and down forever, which remember, that's how we tell domain and range by looking at the graph. It's how far left and right it's going and how far up and down it's going. All right, let's try one here. It says graph y equals 1/2 on the square root of x, then state the domain and range. Now, I went ahead and put 3 points down there where I plugged in the numbers. I plugged 1 in for x, then 0 in for x, then 4 in for x, and I got 0, 0. So I'm going to plot it, 0, 0. I got 1, 1/2, which means I'm going to here. And I got 4, 2, which is here. Oops, not quite there. Sorry about that. 4, 2 is up there. And then I'm just going to connect those, like half of the sideways parabola. And there it is. Now, one thing about that one, remember I told you on the last slide it went over, the original one went like over 1, up 1, like we would go to there, and it would do more like this. Well, what's happened is there's a 1/2 in the front. Don't forget what that means. That is a vertical shrink. So it got shrunk by half. So instead of going all the way up to 1 on that second point, it just went to 1/2. All right, let's try cube root one here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make an XY table real quick. Put a 0 in for the x right there. The cube root of 0 is 0 times -3 is 0, so that point is still good. If I plug in a positive 1, cube root of 1 is 1 times -3 is -3. Plug in a -1. Cube root of -1 is -1 times -3 is +3. That's enough. So I'm going to put those points up here, 0, 0, 1, -3, which is down here, -1, 3, which is up there. I'm going to connect those. Remember, it's a sideways parabola. Just like that, sideways parabola, just like that. And there's your graph. Cool thing about that graph, think about two things. Look what's in the front of that cube root. There's a 3. Look how far, I went over 1, up 3, over 1, down 3. So it's a vertical stretch by 3. Imagine that. We've talked about that before. The negative sign means it gets reflected across the x-axis, so it's opposite. It usually goes this way and that way. This time it went down and that way. So it got reflected across the x-axis. Okay, now it says domain and range. Anytime it's a cube root, the domain is all reals because it's going left and right forever. The range is also all reals because it's going up and down forever. That's all you need on that one. Okay, let's shift it around a little bit. This one says -2 x minus 3, -2 times the square root of x minus 3 plus 2, which means my graph has been shifted right 3, up 2. So I'm going to go right 3 and up 2. So I'm going to actually start, that's my new 0, 0 point. And usually from there, because this is a square root graph, I would go up 1 over 1 and draw my half a parabola, but there's a 2 in the front. You know what that's going to do? It means I would go over 1, up 2, but it's a -2, which means I'm going to go over 1, down 2. So my other point is going to be right there. And that's just by doing those gestures and transformations we did earlier in the year. If you need to make a table, what I would do is, because we're shifted over 3, I would plug in a 4 into here and see what you get. And if I plugged in 4, it would look like this, -2 on the square root of 4 minus 3 plus 2. The square root of 4 minus, that's 1 plus 2, which is -2 plus 2, which is 0. And look where my point is, 0. Plugged in 4, got 0. Okay, there it is. One more. Let's do a cube root where we have to shift it a little bit. This one has +4 and +1. So I'm going to go left 4, up 1. So that's where I'm starting from. And it's a cube root, which means I need half a parabola going to the right, half a parabola going to the left. Now, there's a 1 in the front, which means I'm going to go over 1, up 1, over 1, down 1. So my graph's going to look like this and like that. It asks me for domain and range. I keep forgetting there's domain and range on the square roots. We'll do that tomorrow. Sorry about that. How far left and right is it going? It's going left forever, right forever. How far up and down is it going? It's going down forever, up forever, and there you go. So, hope that makes some sense. Really not a bad day at all. Every graphing day is a good day, and I'll see you. We'll do a bunch of graphing tomorrow. See you then.